This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Mikedjkelly podcast.
Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mikedjkelly podcast. This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Stand by, here we go with the latest Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast. It's your one-stop, non-stop, fully loaded, fun-filled, action-packed and free show. A new podcast for a new year.
On this week's podcast.
So stand by as we let rip with the stories about James Cleverly, Ladybird Books, the Post Office, Cabbages, The Sound of Music, Professor Frank McDonough at FXMC 1957, fake Showbusiness news, Joyce the Assistant, charities, competitions and a whole lot more.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Happy New Year, Mr. Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
Morning, Joyce. How are you? Have you been up to anything over the festive break?
I did a castanets masterclass. I thought it would be useful for when I go on the Club 1830 Hindu in Ibiza.
I hope you're not planning on being a bit of a show-off in the bars and clubs.
Certainly not. I never show off.
What about the time you had your photo in the Health and Efficiency magazine?
That was a long time ago and a very tasteful pose in a fur hat, again after a lot of baby shams and cherry bees.
So tell the listener, what is Health and Efficiency magazine?
It was a 92-page monthly magazine focusing on the naturist lifestyle, through articles on travel, health and culture, as well as various features on arts and books with a naked theme. This content and focus has sometimes caused it to be accused of appealing to consumers of top-shelf type magazines.
I bet you were on page 92.
No, you are wrong. I was on page 3.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
In the Yorkshire Evening Post, they did a list of the 27 best fish and chip shops in Leeds. Seems a bit random. Do we only have 27 fish and chip shops? Did the others not make the grade? I think the top 10 or top 20 would have been better.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
So who killed off Christmas? I'm going to say the Post Office with its hugely expensive first-class stamps at £1.25. Looking forward to Mr. Bates versus the Post Office tells the story of the Post Office staff whose lives were wrecked by the Horizon IT scandal.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mikedjkelly podcast.
Don't forget, Podpickers, if you want to get in touch about anything to do with the Shorter Than Short podcast show, please use the following to contact us, and if you have any stories, gossip or jokes or anything for the next episode, go to Mike Kelly Disco on social media sites. And talking of them their social media sites, what is there out there? Adrian Edmondson, I asked my legal team and they said I didn't say what I said when I said it. In fact, I didn't know what I'd done until someone found out. And then I couldn't remember what I hadn't said I hadn't done anyway. Committing a crime isn't a crime. Seahorse, it's very embarrassing when your New Zealand family trying to get a train across Britain seems to be more taxing than the round the world bit. Blade of the Sun. Who is Topham Guren? It's these two, Sean Topham and Ben Guren. They've worked for the Saudi Arabian government and Conservatives since 2019. And of course they've got a COVID contract for $3 million, and now apparently their focus is on attacking good law. Rob of Phillies, there should be a procedure other than a general election or a vote of no confidence whereby we can have a government dismissed if they're not acting in the best interests of the people they're supposed to represent. This government only ever acts in the interest of their donors. Sheena, can you reply with a photo of your Christmas tree so I can judge it? If I think it's a disgrace, I will be honest. Trash Jones. Ice cream trucks are great, but in the winter we need a soup truck. Do they even understand how much money I'd spend if there was a truck rolling around my neighbourhood every day, doling out piping hot soup? Kate Wellham. A lady at a shop in Shipley just said, "Are you paying by magic?" to a guy who held his phone out to do the contactless. So that's where we are.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Oh yes, I have learnt something new. Cabbages are very difficult to grow, need loads of fertiliser, well-rotted manure and netting covering them to stop caterpillars and moths eating them. If you want the easy route, why not try growing seed potatoes? Plant in buckets in March. Loads of videos show you how to plant them and how to use fertiliser. Bought some Yale Cabbages soup on offer. Tasted okay, but not sure what it was. It might have been yoghurt soup.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Driving to work on Sunday, the 10th of December at 05:18 a.m, BBC Radio Leeds, Virgin Radio and Greatest Hits Radio were all playing Queen songs. Yes, different songs, but they were all playing Queen. Where's the listener choice? And on BBC Local Radio, they must spend 15 minutes of each hour telling you how to get in touch to talk about today's mundane subject. And what's this Who's in the Zoo with animal sound effects? Are we kids? Did you see Celebrity Mastermind? What a bunch of weirdos. Not elitist in any way, just mind-bogglingly bad. Enjoyed live from the Palladium. Lucy, the pianist, was brill. And Cher at 77, that's not a chart position. Talking of New Year's Day, a celebration of 60 years of Top of the Pops on Boom Radio with David Hamilton, Simon Bates and Mike Reid.
I have one to add. If a song is used on an advert by law, it can never be played on the radio ever again. Joyce's Law.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Over the festive break, The Sound of Music was on. I love it. But why didn't they ever make a sequel? What about the Von Trapps Sing for Ukraine? Or the Von Trapps Singing for Peace? You also hear about the cast making films having wild parties while making the films. Do you think Maria, the captain, and Max were having wild parties while filming in the Lake District?
No, I do not. Julie Andrews is a very decent lady and Christopher Plummer a true gent. And what's this about the Lake District? It was filmed in Austria.
Squeaky clean in nun's outfits. She could be one of your mates from Ann Summers. Anyway, didn't you ever see S.O.B., a 1981 American satirical black comedy film written and directed by her hubby Blake Edwards? It stars Julie Andrews, Richard Mulligan, Robert Preston, not the ITV one, Larry Hagman, Robert Vaughan, Robert Webber, Loretta Swift, Shelley Winters and William Holden. I'm told she's topless in it. Obviously, I would never watch a film like that.
Obviously not your sort of thing.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Today's not so tricky music competition. Name the song or artiste or both. Stand by, here it comes. This is the pre-chorus. We've got to all stick together. Good friends are there for each other. Never ever forget that I've got you and you've got me. So, name the song or artiste or both.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
I see the highlight of the King's speech was a replantable tree. What we need is a king who would sort out Parliament. But while they keep increasing how much the state gives him, he's not very likely to do that, is he? As we have said before, follow the money. If you're new to the Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast, you can still get to hear all previous episodes just by searching or shouting the Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast show.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Professor Frank McDonough at FXMC 1957, 30th of December 1956, the last passenger train service ran on the famous and now defunct Liverpool Overhead Railway. It had opened in 1893 to carry workers to jobs along the docks and the Liverpool waterfront, and was the first electrically operated elevated railway in the world. 30th of December 1947, Jeff Lynne, the lead singer, songwriter of the Electric Light Orchestra, was born in Birmingham. He was formerly a member of The Move and also of the pop supergroup The Travelling Wilburys. New Year's Eve 1992, at midnight, Czechoslovakia peacefully dissolved into two new states, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. New Year's Eve 1960, the farthing, a quarter of 1 old penny, in use since the 13th century, ceased to be legal tender at midnight.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Today's do-gooders can be found at waterwise.org.uk. Who are we? Waterwise is the leading independent voice in the UK for using water wisely for the benefit of people and the planet. Our vision is that water is used wisely every day, everywhere, by everyone. We are the UK's conscience on water efficiency on behalf of the people and the planet, and are experts in water efficiency policy, regulation, research, behaviour and campaigns. Waterwise is a people-led organisation which prioritises the well-being of its staff. We are at the heart of a huge network of stakeholders in the UK. As part of this, in 2022, we published our water efficiency strategy to 2030, which we created with 70 organisations and has an ecosystem of groups and activity to deliver it. Find out all you need to know at waterwise.org.uk.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Fake showbiz news at Fake Showbiz News. Breaking: Dutch operator Wenger Airways to buy British Airways for £23 billion. Sarah Lancashire says part of her hopes the European Super League does not go ahead and is a disaster. It would be quite funny, she said. Catherine Zeta-Jones says she feels a deep sense of rage when she's done a good word on Scrabble, but the next player sticks an S on it. Get your own word, she fumed. Martin Clunes says good luck to anyone going for the lazy workday hat trick today, arriving late, taking longer than allowed for lunch and then leaving early. Emily Blunt says she's never been a fan of the Beats' 1980s hit Mirror in the Bathroom. Most bathrooms have mirrors, not really worth writing a song about, she remarked. Joan Collins says she imagines bald men must enjoy winter as it gives them an opportunity to hide their shame beneath a woolly hat.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Guess the celebrity was going to have Jules Holland, but it was too easy. Born on the 24th of January 1957, he is an English comedian, actor, musician and TV presenter. He was part of the alternative comedy boom in the early 1980s and had roles in the TV series The Young Ones and Bottom, which he wrote together with his collaborative partner Rick Mayall. In the 2000s, he appeared in numerous TV programmes in drama roles, including Jonathan Creek, Holby City, Miss Austen Regrets, as himself on Hell's Kitchen, and created the sitcom Teenage Kicks. Since 2006, he has concentrated increasingly on music instead of acting. He formed a folk punk band, the Bad Shepherds, singing and playing mandolin and mandolin, and performed and wrote for the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. In 2011, he presented a series of shows for ITV, The Dales, which focused on people working in the Yorkshire Dales. He was crowned the winner of Celebrity MasterChef, and in 2019 he appeared on the BBC soap opera EastEnders as Daniel Cook. Who is he?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Are you ready to make the change to EV? Yes, the next generation of electric cars are here. No need to charge the new Chinese Quasi-D DBC. It's powered by wind and lightning in a Dr. Emmett Brown flux capacitor kinetic energy type of way. In a new Anglo-Chinese supercar deal set up by Liz Truss, this supercar is available now. With the changing climate, this vehicle takes advantage of strong winds to charge and push it along, and a once-in-a-lifetime lightning strike will power your vehicle for 10 years. You can even plug your house or flat into the vehicle to power your home electrical goods and heating. Sounds too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can get yours now direct from MJL or any high street supermarket.
In the unlikely event of a China-UK war, the Chinese government might disable your vehicle. DBC is the trading name of the Dodgem bumper car company.
If they ever make public transport so good that we all want to use it and we abandon our cars, where's the tax revenue going to come from to replace what we're all spending on fuel? The government will still need the money.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
More from those social media sites, Cyan Lloyd. So what do we make of King Charles, Cameron and Sunak all arriving in separate private jets at COP28_UAE to lecture us about being climate savvy? Richard Coles. I can just about get my head around world leaders using private jets to get to global climate conferences, schedule, security etc, but a jet each for the three principals from the UK? Really? Steve MC. If anyone deserves an honour, it's Tim Martin. Acker Freddie Boswell. I will crack open a pint of wine to celebrate his elevation into the establishment. David Osland. King Charles got a 45% pay rise this year. As a trade unionist, I'd like to see that as a benchmark for public sector pay negotiations.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
In the late news, does Ryanair's top man, Michael Kevin O'Leary, have a point when he says climate change will not be solved by increasing taxes? Spitting Image TV programme makers to market their Suella Braverman puppet in high street shops. The Ladybird book of lying, treacherous, self-serving bastards is Waterstone's top-selling book of 2023. New sail-powered ferry service to operate between England and France. New local council laws make it illegal for department stores to put the men's department upstairs. Government Minister James Cleverly to get a new surname. In a shock announcement, the government says elections will happen every year, so if you're not happy with the way the country is being run, you can vote for a change. And in a similar move, Christmas is only to be celebrated every 4 years, with an eventual plan to phase it out. And from you, Joyce?
I'm putting my name forward to be the Minister for Common Sense, especially with that new pay increase MPs are getting.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
If you want to get in touch with this top-rated and sometimes much-listened-to podcast, please contact at Mike Kelly Disco on social media sites. Indeed, if you want a podcast making for your business or need any help with radio producer or presentation, travel news or voiceover work, please do get in touch. Please tell your friends about the podcast, retweet, leave good endorsements on social media sites. All they need to do to find it is search on Google for the Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Okay, it's time to go. Name the song or the artiste. We've got to all stick together. Good friends are there for each other. Never ever forget that I've got you and you've got me. So, name the song or the artiste or both, and the main chorus goes like, Joyce?
Reach for the stars, climb every mountain high, reach for the stars, follow your heart's desire.
Yes, that's enough. S Club 7 and Reach. Guess the celebrity, born on the 24th of January 1957, an English comedian, actor, musician and TV presenter. He was part of the alternative comedy boom in the early 1980s and had roles in the TV series The Young Ones and Bottom, which he wrote together with his collaborative partner Rick Mayall. In the 2000s, he appeared in numerous TV programmes including Jonathan Creek, Holby City, Miss Austen Regrets and himself on Hell's Kitchen, and created the sitcom Teenage Kicks. And you know the rest. Who is he? Of course it is. He was born in Bradford, you know. It is Ade Edmondson. Today's do-gooders, Waterwise at waterwise.org.uk. Guess what? It's that place in the script where we say, that's enough for this edition of the Crazy Shorter Than Short podcast show. From me, Mike Kelly.
And me, Joyce.
Thank you for listening. Please take care out there, and remember you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting the Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mikedjkelly. Mikedjkelly.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast. This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.